Everyone, if you can hear me, please do a few thumbs up. That was very helpful last time. My name is Damir Jaksic. Thank you very much. My name is Damir Jaksic, and I'm honored to be here with you today at the BizzTalk World 2022. It's fairly obvious that this is a virtual business conference, and I invite you to explore the rest of the day's agenda and have a peek at tomorrow's events too, by going to BizzTalk.world. I'm pleased to be sharing some of the views in this keynote with many of you, entrepreneurs, innovators, and thought leaders. Following this keynote, we'll have a number of interesting sessions our organizers have scheduled for you today. Please make the effort to join tomorrow too. We start at 9 o'clock with a very interesting keynote on cognitive enterprise by Debbie Botta. I'm very happy to after a number of attempts, we've scheduled this in-person event, and it's online. I hope to be catching up with some of you soon in the real world, new normal. Right. Without further ado, I will be focusing on the topic of innovation and leadership in the new normal. I have a few not so heavy slides, and we have allocated some time for the Q&A at the end of the session. A little bit about the organization I work for. It's called KEO. KEO International Consultants is a creative enterprise where innovation is way of life. We are uniquely resourced with end-to-end services to take clients from inspiration to realization of planning, design, and project delivery in the built and natural environments. For over 57 years, we've led with vision, contributing to many of the world's most ambitious projects, iconic places, remarkable experiences, and prosperous communities. A little bit about me. There's a picture and there's text. This is who I am. A standard spiel. But the thing that you need to know is I'm very, very passionate about technology, and I have an even greater passion for organizational transformation. Should you bundle these two together, you have someone who loves innovation and really enjoys the challenge. Leading innovation in established corporations is hard work. Medium to large companies are rarely disrupted because they don't see the disruption coming. Some of you who are a little bit older have heard of the company called Kodak. Kodak had all of the digital photography assets it's needed. If I'm not mistaken, they have also patented digital camera. Nokia had the same for the smartphone. And Blockbuster has been offered to acquire Netflix, which is something that it passed on. And there's probably a number of other stories that you have heard of in your own professional lives. What happened there? Is that the gravitational pull of the traditional business makes it very, very hard to justify investments that appear to serve a different agenda. That's because when threatened, we humans seek safety in what we know, the skills, capabilities, and routines that makes us successful in the first place. This makes it even more difficult to innovate and to move into the new areas of opportunity. I'm sure that most of you have faced this phenomenon, face it on a daily or weekly basis. The question is, what is this new normal, and what does it need from us, leaders? The pandemic caused organizations around the world to rethink how they are doing business. Remote work, distance learning, and pop-up retail pickup shops became a necessity. Whether or not managers felt they were a good idea before the pandemic. Preparing for the post-pandemic era requires leaders to evaluate their options for the future. What is the right combination of the old ways and the new ways? What do the customers and our employees really want us as we move forward? Making these decisions requires not only evaluating new options, but also rethinking the decision-making process itself. The unspoken assumptions that helped to speed decision-making in the past may have or may lead companies to take the wrong path. As leaders develop strategy for the future of the new normal, we need to rethink fundamental assumptions about how our employees work, what our customers want, and how do we drive change in the organizations. One thing's for sure, there's no going back to the pre-pandemic workplace. Organizations and individuals have had no choice but to discover new ways of working. Many of us, and I'm sure that every single person on this call, have successfully implemented years worth of digital transformation over the course of the few months. It was a necessity. However, for most companies and managers, us responding effectively to the impact of new normal is still the biggest challenge. We have to navigate supply chain issues. We have to bring workers back to physical offices safely, and then send them home and then bring them back. Hiring and retaining employees in the middle of the as it's called great resignation. And in addition to all of this, we still have to do the work. We still have to grow the business. It is very overwhelming, and no wonder while most of us are feeling the pressure. And why do we know this? Because we are also more attuned during this pandemic. We seem to have developed a specific or more attuned niche to social issues that play an important role in our lives and how we do the work. From the burnout culture and work-life balance to diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. And clearly the never-ending occupational health and safety issues that seem to be popping up like mushrooms. So how do we address this change? How do we address the change at our workplace? How do we address the change in this customer demand? You can't be good consultant without the matrix, or probably some of you have a bit of a giggle. And I have used the one that I'm showing on the screen in one of my recent presentations. Here we have a great example of innovation that many companies or different types of companies have elected to respond to in reflecting the change in the customer demands, and showcases how a number of organizations and perhaps even yours have adjusted. And please, during the Q&A, should you have a story with the first one would be the adapter. So the adapter quadrant is a matrix. Let me see, how can I highlight this? Okay. Yep. So the adapter, here it is. The adapter quadrant on the matrix is reserved for the businesses that saw temporary changes to demand for products and services they've already produced before the pandemic. So restaurants that we all love to enjoy, they've created new areas or to cater for the people outdoors. Or some of the restaurants have moved to a cloud kitchen outposts only. Reckitt, a consumer goods company, focused on producing a specific product for which there was a great demand. The other organizational type in this framework is the optimizer. Successful optimizer learn how to reconfigure their resources, their existing resources, to existing customer domain. But because demand will be sustained, they have shifted their focus to increase the efficiency by which they deliver these products and services. So the best example here is IKEA, which has previously invested in augmented reality to help customers choose furniture without physically going to the IKEA store. During the pandemic, with foot traffic all but disappearing, decided to invest more in this new technology, and they've added around 2,000 products that customers, such as consumers, such as us, can visualize from the comfort of their own homes. The trendsetter type is responding to the emerging demand of the customers. So the trendsetter companies responded to the crisis by developing continue to be in demand post-pandemic. For example, many healthcare providers around the world started a completely new effort to offer telemedicine appointments during the pandemic. The telemedicine caters not only for barriers, putting barriers in for the to I guess fend away the potential transmissions, but it also increases is required to learn how to use this new technology and develop new skills for providing care and clearly implement the new routines to satisfy this emerging demand. Lastly, the trailblazer companies. And this could be one of the most prevalent types. We've seen many examples of trailblazer companies, those that use existing resources to solve new problems they have never ever tackled before. Dyson, the company, we all associated vacuum cleaners, but the company is very famous for innovation. And they saw that the world needed more medical equipment during the pandemic. And they recognized that they can produce the ventilators. Interestingly, because Dyson could only work with the available resources, it confronted unusual constraint that pushed the company to develop entirely new ventilator design, one that can actually be produced at a fraction of a cost compared to the previous design. The point to note here is as COVID hopefully becomes a distant memory, the need for large quantities of ventilators will diminish. And it is very likely that Dyson will withdraw from the industry. So these are some of the examples on the innovation framework for the new normal. To bring it a little bit closer to home, the businesses like mine and yours, clearly, they had to do their own transformations, rethinking what customer value most and create novel operating models to take the advantage of what's possible in competitive differentiation. The firm that I work for and represent, we've launched a set of new services using the years of experience to provide technical advisory consulting services for our clients throughout the Middle East. Clearly, the challenge for us and for you becomes how to monetize these new customer value propositions and how far do we go on our path of this transformation. However, here internally, we have successfully reshaped the operating model and we found ways to use this internal capability to focus on building a new set of capabilities around the transformed customer value proposition. This is the new normal for us. COVID has been a major upheaval for all of us. It has spurred big changes. If and when, or perhaps when, things return to normal, it is essential not to assume that normal is still correct. This pandemic has caused a huge changes in consumer behavior. While some of the changes were COVID specific, many simply accelerated trends that were already well underway. Yes, our customers may want to have an in-person visit to close this new deal or to maintain the relationship, but is it worth the cost and the inconvenience for both of us? Customers may welcome the convenience of a shorter visit rather than a long all-day in-person events, or they still may want an in-person meetings, but fewer of them, or some may want them, but others don't. Similarly, customers may or may not want to pay the extra cost for online consulting teams. This is something that we're seeing a lot. What's critical is to rethink the selling and service proposition for today's environment, not yesterday. Innovation in the becomes critical for sustained performance. Present customers with new options and they may reveal new preferences or maybe the old ones that were not previously satisfied. Leaders must learn to continually reinvent the future of work, and now is the time to begin discovering what that future is all about. As mentioned, the gradual emergence from this disruption provides unprecedented opportunity to explore and experiment in this new normal. And I'd love to hear from you. How are you experimenting and how are you disrupting? And are you sustaining your innovation? Are you a trendsetter, adapter or trailblazer, or a little bit of everything? I think we will open the floor for the Q&A. And to tell the truth, you may need to help me out here. I managed to get this presentation started. So how do we start this Q&A in this new normal? I believe you have to, if you've joined, at least I see the panel on the right, and it has Q&A, and perhaps usually you need to type some questions, or we can get a little bit of assistance from the organizers. Let me just check my phone. Right. So I think should you have any questions, please try to. Okay, we have a question. Okay, yeah, they're coming in. How difficult is to create new leaders in new normal? The new leaders, I think, articles that I've read, and I would kind of direct you to many of the authoritative internet resources, Forbes.com, MIT, MIT Sloan has very good articles. Effectively, the new leaders, and if I've referred to a little bit earlier in the presentation, is new leaders are the leaders that have developed, in my view, this is my opinion, I have to mention this, people that have, or individuals that have well-developed emotional intelligence to handle all of these continuous pressures of the new normal and the blurring lines between, work and workplace and everything else. It would be very, very important to have emotional intelligence or empathetic leaders in place. And this is something that has been true even in the past, but it would be more prevalent in this new normal. That's the leadership style. I've alluded to that in a little bit. The leadership style, there are, again, there's a number of different leadership matrix styles, directors, influencers, analysts, and etc. Again, it's very, very important to have a leader that has well-developed emotional intelligence, as the new normal is all about that. It was a great presentation. We appreciate it. Okay, thank you very much. You may reach me. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is fairly unique. Happy to continue this conversation. We have a great panel discussion coming up around background information, researching, prioritizing initial reporting, and moving on a perfect follow-up. I get lots of sales calls, and I'll be definitely joining this session just to understand it a little bit more. You will be joined in 2 minutes by Mr. Suman Anjay, Mr. Sanjeev Bhatt, and Mr. Gurav, Managing Director for Innovation Imaging. They will start in 1 minute. So thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate your attention. feel free to reach out to me over the LinkedIn. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for the organizer for this. And we have a great day planned for you. And tomorrow we have phenomenal keynote about cognitive enterprise, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and please stay safe.